I think this colorism issue is so deeply entrenched in the whole in the psyche of the entire world. We can't even begin to peel it back.
It's so important to really audit the stuff that you listen and watch and take in. So like in the Bible, it says, by beholding we become changed.
Well,
and I keep trying to tell my siblings all the time, especially my brothers, I'm like, if you think you can absorb all this media, and I mean media about anything, I mean like horror films and really horrific stuff that's on video games, like if you think you can just absorb that day in and day out and it doesn't change you, doesn't register, everything leaves an imprint on your brain. That's neuroscience. And actually, when we're watching things, it takes your brain a second to think that's not happening to me, but it still invokes fear in you. When you're watching like a murder scene or like a rape scene or whatever, that's how your brain works. And it's the same thing when we are being bombarded with images of rappers with light-skinned girlfriends, like actors with light-skinned girlfriends, TV shows with light-skinned wives, and a variety of light-skinned children. And it would be silly and almost naive of anybody to think that we can absorb all this stuff and especially when it's deemed as inspirational or aspirational, and for that not to be something that someone sitting down in their little house thinks, I want to have a big house like a rapper. I want to have a car like a rapper. I want to have a girl that looks like that girl. Like I think someone posted in the Shade Bro this week. I've been reading this stuff way too often, and they posted a picture of Kret's girlfriend, and a comment underneath it was, all these rappers have the same girlfriend in different fonts. And I said, yeah, it's funny because it's true. Like she looks like Raheem Sterling's fiance. She looks like she does, Paige.
But Raheem Sterling's in a different, he's a footballer. Most of these footballers are white.
I'm saying, fine, he's not a rapper, but I'm saying a lot of people who are in elevated positions and that are aspirational to young black boys and black girls, for whatever reason.
Raheem Sterling.
I'm not saying that Raheem is colorist. I'm not here to bash Raheem. I'm really not.
No, but what Lyndon's saying is that compared to the lane that he could go down on, he's steering in the kind of right direction.
He's like the worst place you
need to push him further.
You could have chosen any other black footballer.
I don't know any other black footballers. Don't date light-skinned girls. They date white girls.
Yeah,
that's why I said him.
That's my point.
Okay, fine. Black footballers don't date black girls. Light-skinned.
No, Raheem is. Raheem is. That's what I'm saying. Raheem is.
And Raheem is. So we're gonna clap for him. But what I'm saying is this: the comment on the Shade Room about Kret's fiance, she's his fiance. It got a lot of likes because actually I think it resonated with a lot of people. So you just have to be conscious of the media that you're taking in, because I think that's what registers in your subconscious, and then you then start to act in a way, and then you're thinking, no, but it's my preference. Well, your preference has been shaped by what you've absorbed. Same thing for me. I put my hand up. My preference was shaped by what I absorbed, and you have to consciously go against a preference, because really preference is nonsense.
Preference is nonsense, and every YouTube video I see, like, oh yeah, but it's their preference. If they got a preference, then that's fine. Now we need to unpack that. We need to unpack the fact that everyone's preference is a flipping light-skinned girl. We need to unpack that. We need to talk about that. We're not gonna.
Or a dark-skinned girl, or a dark-skinned guy, because it's not because people aren't talking about light-skinned guys.
Light-skinned guys aren't really suffering out here. They're not suffering.
Lyndon.
They're not suffering.
They are suffering.
They're not suffering at all.
No, they're not suffering to the same degree, but my cousin who is light-skinned only dates dark-skinned black women. I've said this already and I'll say it again, because actually he said, not
a problem for him.
No, Lyndon, it's not a problem. I'm explaining his strategy, because he said, growing up, my blackness was constantly questioned by white people, by black people, and actually he was like, I don't like being this light because I was constantly questioned and undervalued as a black man. And actually in media, light-skinned, this is what he said, he was like, light-skinned men often aren't portrayed as like the strong, muscular hero type guy. In Black Panther, who are the strong, muscular people?
Can I also say,
it's based in Africa, for goodness sake.
So there's light-skinned people in Africa too.
In Africa.
There's light-skinned people in Africa too.
Okay, I know. But come on, the amount of colorist stuff that we've got in America already with actors and all that kind of stuff. Can dark-skinned actors just get one film, please?
No, that's true. That's true. But what
they can get lots of films. They can get lots of films, but the truth is, light-skinned men are also still under attack, and I don't think it's fair to be like, oh well, they're okay.
They're
just brush
under
over
attack.
it.
Not under attack.
You know what?
They get a bit of banter. They're fine. They're not suffering. People talk a lot about how they prefer dark-skinned guys. So last year, we started to get a few dark-skinned guys in flipping Love Island. It was light-skinned guys the whole time. We're talking about.
I want to make it.
They're not suffering at all.
Can I ask a question? Do you think that things have changed quite a bit since you came out of the dating scene? And
Not doing this.
No.
Just
say no, because I feel like what you're saying is right, and I feel like there's a comparison between what colorism in the past, and it's always the bias has always been against dark-skinned people.
Yep.
And that's absolutely true. And there's no comparison, to be very honest. There's no comparison. This new light that is like, oh, like a dark-skinned guy, a dark-skinned guy. This is very new, and this is not no one is looking down in the same way, or no one is mistreating in the same capacity light-skinned guys. But we can't brush over it, because for someone who's in a situation where only girls only want a dark-skinned guy, even the white girls are asking for a dark-skinned guy. Are they
really? How many times have you seen on Love Island they talk about, oh yeah, my type is like, mixed race? How many times have you heard that?
Can I tell
I've
you?
heard it over and over again, so please don't tell me that light-skinned people are suffering, because they're not.
I was watching an episode of First Dates randomly this week, yeah? And I think it's an episode that I've seen before. And it was a white lady who's a dancer. And she looked like a street dancer, like, not like a dancer, like a ballroom dancer, like,
I don't like that phrase, street dancer, by the way. Just want to say that.
I should have used quotation marks, street dancer. Because if you asked her, she'd probably say, what dance do you do? I do street dance or urban. What do you call it? Urban? That's what she would say. So, she was there. She was like, oh, like, I want a guy that's nice. He doesn't tell me lies and stuff like that. And I want a black guy. She was saying in her BT, she was like, I just like black guys. I don't know what it is, but I like black guys, and I like dark-skinned black guys. I wish I could pull up the video for you right now, yeah? I like dark-skinned black guys. Like, the darker the better. Please someone correct me if I'm wrong, whoever's watching this, but I remember her to say that. Then the guy...
Thank you.
Yeah, it's all right. We know that word too, innit? Then the guy turns up, and I think from the way he looked, he was southern. He wasn't especially light, and he wasn't especially dark, but I think she even said to him she likes dark-skinned guys. She likes dark-skinned guys only. So I think that there are white girls who are making that their requirement.
Yeah.
Or making that's one of the things on their list. So things are changing, and not in favor of. They're still like facing some level of colorism, but it's less, oh, you are disgusting, which was what the rhetoric was toward darker people. It's more, you are not desired, and we have a fetish for dark skinned guys.
I think what you're talking about is the masculinization of dark skin.
Yes, we've talked about this before.
We have.
So dark skin being more masculine, which obviously kind of affects dark skinned women.
Yeah.
So obviously, light skinned men are seen as sometimes in banter, like a little bit weak, a little bit more, emotional, all that kind of stuff.
No, Lyndon, it's not banter. Lyndon, do you know how many women
I know they say that. The feminization of light skin. That's what I mean. It's feminization of light skin.
It's a massive.
But at the same time, you can also feminize white skin. Could you not? With that same logic, a white man suffering.
Yeah.
A white man suffering.
Not as far as I know.
There's an extra barrier. So, like, a light skinned guy, let's just say, is suffering from, let's just say, racism. In general, so they're not worldwide, they're still suffering from racism, and they are suffering from the effects of
masculization
of dark skin, and demasculization of the lighter skin. So they're in the middle, and I'm not saying their plight is more or even equal.
It's not equal.
Like it deserves like a note, or like a what do you call it? What do you a footnote in the whole discussion?
Maybe you're right. Like, it deserves a footnote, but I'm saying that the masculinization of dark skin affects dark skinned women way more than light skinned men.
Absolutely.
There's no comparison. And we've talked about this before, and I said that it's the flip side of that. Like, we can't encourage this unwarranted love, or there's a desire for black men that has no good foundation, because the flip side of that is a despise, or like a not like, people don't want to be with dark skinned women, like, so. And we've said that before, we had that discussion. I'm just saying that I think your view of it being banter is because you are married and you're not dating, so that doesn't, so it's always going to be like lol.
Not everything's to do with being married, you know. Swear down. Everything's to do with being married.
Because you've got someone who loves you, and you can be like, ha ha ha, banter, and then you can go home with your wife. No, it's not the same for every light-skinned guy.
It's not the same.
So we deserve to give it a note, because he's banter for you, but it's from the position that you're standing in.
And I just want to say, which is what I was trying to say 5 minutes ago, Angela, that was superb.
No,
Thank you. No, it was, because her point is valid.
No, if you diminish my opinion by the fact that I'm married again, I swear down. I'm not having it.
I didn't say that. No, how can you diminish your opinion? We just said that you might think it's banter, but that might be informed by other things that you it's not that big of a for you, because it don't have the same effects.
Listen, I just want to say, as a dark-skinned woman, let me tell you, I'm female, I'm black, and I'm dark-skinned. I understand more than many people the plight and the masculization of black skin on a female. Trust me, I do. And it's not the same. It's not the same as everyone else's, but actually, the racism that a light-skinned black woman might encounter is still racism. It's still not correct.
I'm not saying that light people still don't deal with racism. I'm not saying that.
No, I know that's not what you're saying, but at the same time, it still deserves to be a footnote.
I agreed with that already.
Okay, so why are we fighting?
Why are we fighting? Why are we fighting?
We don't have to fight. Everybody smile.
I don't know that many girls within my social circle who are single who date light-skinned men. I actually know quite a lot of my friends who say, I don't really date light-skinned guys.
White girls do.
I don't have a lot of white girls in my social circle.
I'm saying that white girls do.
But what if a black man wants to date within his race?
I'm sure he can, because he'll find someone that likes him for who he is.
Oh, everybody
hold on a second.
Basically, the only people who are suffering are women.
At this time, dark skin guys aren't really suffering anymore, because at this time, dark skin is all of a sudden now fashionable.
Yeah.
Light skin was already fashionable from time. It's already fashionable. Right now, dark skin is more fashionable. So maybe now, both dark skin and light skin men don't really have too much to complain about. They really don't.
In the dating thing, maybe in the work thing, they still got stuff to complain about. Or in general society.
We're talking about in dating now.
Just in dating, yeah. And to be honest with you, I agree. Generally, I agree that you can't compare plight. Like, you can't. And I know it's not like a competition of who's gone through the most, but really and truly, if you're looking at it, there's no like to put at the forefront the plight of light-skinned men in the whole conversation of what black people are going through. Especially in dating, doesn't really make any sense. We're just saying that we need to mention them to you.